Hello, everyone. Welcome to another special episode of Interviews at Quicklearninsports. Today, we have someone very special. Today, we have Dipankar Sharma. Dipankar is the head coach of Chanmari Football Club, a leading professional football club in Aizawl, Mizoram, currently competing in the I League 2 and Mizoram Premier League. An AFCA license holder, Dipankar is recognized as one of the first Indian coaches to secure a professional contract abroad with coaching experience in India, Mexico, and Spain. He also holds a master's in performance football from MVP Barcelona and brings a unique perspective to football management. So let's welcome Dipankar Sharma. Hello, Dipankar ji, how are you?
Hi, Siddharth. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for this introduction. It's very
थैंक
kind of
यू सबसे पहले तो सर थैंक यू आपका आपने जो टाइम दिया इस पॉडकास्ट के लिए एंड द आइडिया इज टू इंस्पायर मोर फुटबॉल प्लेयर्स एंड कोचेस इन आवर कंट्री टू डू बेटर सो थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग हियर एंड शेयरिंग योर नॉलेज बट मेरा सवाल आपसे स्टार्टिंग में सबसे पहले यही होगा हमेशा की तरह जैसे मैं लोगों से पूछता हूँ कि why football and how did you come to choose this game?
it. आई थिंक फॉर मी पहले से जैसे स्कूल्स में जो हमारा कल्चर रहा है हमेशा इट्स बीन अबाउट प्लेइंग फुटबॉल
Right.
सो जो स्टार्टिंग का जो स्पार्क है वो वहीं से आया है स्कूल में
तो
खेलते
ये
हुए एंड
स्कूल सर कहाँ था आपका मतलब आप सिटी पे जाते हैं हम आप कहाँ पे आपकी स्कूलिंग हुई?
आई माई फादर वॉज एक्चुअली इन द नेवी
Okay.
तो हमारा जैसे हर डिफेंस के
Right.
बच्चे का होता है दैट एवरी टू
Right.
इयर्स हमारा बेस चेंज होता रहता है सो
Right.
मोस्टली मेरा एजुकेशन इन नेवल पब्लिक स्कूल एंड आर्मी पब्लिक स्कूल लाइक ऑल दीज ऐसे
Right.
जगहों पे ही हुआ है
Right.
एंड आई वाज इनिशियली थोड़ा गोवा में मैंने अपना
Hmm.
एजुकेशन किया था फोर्थ फिफ्थ स्टैंडर्ड एंड देन
Hmm.
आफ्टर माय डैड रिटायर्ड हम दिल्ली में शिफ्ट हो गए थे
Right.
so, but yeah, experience of all across the country,
Yeah,
every 2 3 years moving around though.
I can
That's
imagine. I also, I mean, happen to be around Air Force a lot, so I can imagine that situation. बट आपका मतलब ऑब्वियसली जब आप डिफेंस में एरियाज में रहते हैं वहाँ पे आपको काफ़ी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रहता है काफ़ी अच्छा मतलब इन्वायरमेंट भी रहता है तो वो कौन सा मतलब वो क्या टाइम था जब आपको रियलाइज हुआ कि फुटबॉल इज वन ऑफ द प्रॉब्ली बेस्ट गेम्स and I should pursue a career into it.
pursuing the career. So I think बाद में आया था. The starting the love for it
हाँ,
happened because I think that is something कि सबके साथ ही होता है that you realize you are better than the average person at doing something तो अपने आप ही वो interest जागना शुरू हो जाता है.
right.
And that's where when you realize okay you can do a little bit more, you can play well, then you start doing more of it, and that's same thing जो सबके साथ होता है in all aspects of lives. तो वहां से इनिशियल खेलना शुरू हुआ था मेरा
Okay.
and because of the culture that of a defense kid has that every 2 3 years you have to move around so कभी कोई formal coaching नहीं मिली
Hmm.
and उस टाइम पे इतना होता भी नहीं था कि there's proper academy system जो अभी चल रहा है हर जगह तो I could not pursue it and I didn't have that much I think love for playing जो मेरा coaching में I used to love playing I still do जब मौका मिलता है बट इतना नहीं था जो जो पैशन मेरा कोचिंग की तरफ I realized I have.
Hmm.
But that's where the journey started about football, where I used to play in the streets, play with my friends in the evening, and school में भी जब school teams को represent किया है, college में अपने college team को represent किया. But in college only, the culture of watching football increased for me. So
Hmm.
everyone around me. So I've been supporting Arsenal since 2000,
Hmm.
and that's a different story altogether how that happened. But uh, that from there I started watching it and college में along with my friends we used to watch a lot of football and I think initial जो coaching की तरफ मेरा ध्यान गया है it's mostly because of Arsenal because
Hmm.
around that time of 2008 to 2012 13 14 I felt as a fan that we had a very good team but we were every big games हमारी team struggle करती थी
Right.
तो to understand कि क्यों with players like Fabregas, with Nasri, with
Hmm.
Robin van Persie, how is this team not doing well in big games and always losing out those crucial matches? That
Right.
I think piqued my curiosity in the beginning,
Right.
and वहां से फिर I started. reading a lot more about the tactical side of the game and understanding, acha, this is yahan pe problem ho rahi hai, this is the weakness of the team. So that initial, interest for me came from understanding and trying to figure out why Arsenal is not winning stuff in that time period.
So you must be a fan of Arsene Wenger. मतलब उस समय invincible एक time पे कहा जाता था. So
Definitely. And yeah, like for me, he is someone who is, I try to pick up from everyone, all the coaches at the highest level and even at the level where we are working in India, where they might
Right.
be maybe less experienced than me or more experienced, but I feel सबसे कुछ ना कुछ सीखने का होता है. But I think Arsene Wenger is someone who has had the most amount of influence on me as a coach. And yeah, still I feel like when I see my teams also, somewhere I try to ensure जो core philosophy Wenger की थी about how to get the best out of his players.
Right.
That is something I still try to follow in my teams, that it should not be that my system comes above the quality and giving that freedom of expression to my players. So
इंटरेस्टिंग, काफी अच्छी बात कही है. तो हम आपके भी करियर के ऊपर आएंगे, कोचिंग करियर के ऊपर आएंगे, बट उससे पहले अभी का सिचुएशन बताइए. मिकी आर्टेटा, हाउ डू यू फील आर्सेनल, हाउ इज आर्सेनल डूइंग एंड व्हाट आर योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस?
it's not the best day to talk about it, I think, after last night. But for me, the job he's done is fabulous. You have to, as a coach, you have to see not just what is in front of you and what the result has been, but I'm sure the fans are also able to understand the challenges. But also, I think for me to understand the challenges that he's had this season, keeping that in mind, I think he's done an amazing job, and he continues. And again, something that I learned from him is you can see the transformation he has had on the club. The way we were, I think everything was unorganized, and management side also there were a lot of issues, and to come on in at that time to sort those things out, and he was pivotal in that, along with obviously Edu Gaspar as well.
Right.
And wahan se, the way he has developed this team, getting the right people in, trying to develop and to reach the point where we have, I think he's done an amazing job.
बिल्कुल, आई थिंक फॉर श्योर, लाइक मिकी आर्टेटा के आने के बाद तो आर्सेनल का काफी मतलब बहुत बढ़िया रन रहा, एंड लाइक परफॉर्मेंस वाइज टीम का परफॉर्मेंस काफी अच्छा रहा. इट्स जस्ट आई थिंक दे आर जस्ट one season away to be the best again, probably maybe next season. Let's see.
Fingers crossed, but yeah, I would say that it's more about which personnel we can bring in. So like right now we have two very good fullbacks, wingers, in Saka and Martinelli. But if they are not around, there is no one of the similar quality who can, ensure that the team, the performance doesn't go down. Like yesterday also, you could see Barcola is there, Dembele is there, and there's like the 3-4 players. Kavich, I don't know. I'm sure मैं इसका नाम pronounce सही नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Kvaratskhelia, sorry. Yeah. So there are 4-5 good wingers that they could call upon if plan A is not working. But Arsenal did not have anything beyond these two guys.
Right.
And especially with the form of Trossard also going down a little bit. Right. And more importantly, we don't have a striker. Like, and that situation, again, I won't blame the club for it or the manager, because you don't expect your first choice striker, your second choice striker to get injured on long-term injury at the same time. Maybe January window में कुछ कर सकते थे, but the challenges they have, we are not aware of it. And what the long-term plan is. So I would refrain from blaming the coach or anyone for that.
No, I'm sure. I mean, blaming doesn't make any sense, because what he has done is phenomenal for the club, and I think it's just destiny. But anyways, move on करते हैं. आपके कोचिंग करियर के ऊपर आते हैं. तो फिर वो कौन सा ईयर था जब आपने सोचा कि ओके, लेट्स डू अ फॉर्मल ट्रेनिंग, लेट्स टेक अ फॉर्मल लाइसेंस इन द कोचिंग, और फिर मैं यहाँ से अब फुटबॉल में एक करियर स्टार्ट करूँ, और वो जर्नी कैसी थी आपकी?
So इससे पहले I used to be a lawyer. I still have the degree, but yeah, I don't practice anymore. So third year of law school. So in law school, you're supposed to do internships during every big semester end होता है. So in that time, I realized that this is not something that I enjoy. मेरे को, tried to do litigation and tried to do the corporate side.
Hmm.
And it did not give me the satisfaction जो मेरे को चाहिए था कि, and I did not feel that I could continue doing this for the rest
Right.
of my life.
Yeah.
तो वहां पे मैंने ये सोचना शुरू करा कि और क्या कर सकता हूँ, एंड वहां से वो क्यूरियोसिटी निकली कि कहाँ कहीं कुछ फुटबॉल में स्कोप है कि मैं इसमें डेवलप कर सकूँ एंड मेक अ करियर आउट ऑफ माई सेल्फ फॉर माई सेल्फ. एंड इसके लिए आई इनिशियली वेंट टू जर्मनी एंड ट्राई टू फिगर आउट कि वहाँ पे क्या सिस्टम है. Is there a possibility after finishing my law school I can go there and do a course like how you get a BBA LLB degree.
Right.
And उस time पे the people who advised me were, which they said very rightly, but they said that there's no college course, it's like the licenses you have to do.
License.
And उसका भी it's not something like a college degree. And
Right.
even if you do it, कोई guarantee नहीं है that you will get jobs or there is any security that other professions in this country or in the world have.
Right.
So I came back and continued my education at that time. And it's after finishing my law school, 1 year of working, कि मेरे को एक opportunity मिली to speak to someone who was a foreigner but working in India, Stevie Grieve.
Okay.
So I reached out to him, and from him I tried to understand कि क्या culture है Indian football में, क्या what is the pathway I can use to work in India and abroad. And I was very fortunate कि my job that I had at that time allowed me, it was a 2-day I had to go to work to the office, and बाकी दिन मैं घर से काम करता था. तो मेरे पास वो opportunity and window था कि I could also part time at this football club, that is Baichung Bhutia Football Schools, and see for myself कि is this really something I want, because the idea of being a coach is very different from the reality of being a coach.
Absolutely.
So I got that 1 year or 6 months to experiment and see ki, okay, is this the right direction for me for the long term? And then when at the moment where I was sure that yes, I want to be kind of doing this, I left my job as a lawyer and started pursuing this full time.
Right. So definitely we'll come to your football coaching career. And उस समय आप ये कौन से ईयर की बात कर रहे हैं?
This would be around 2013.
2013 में आई डोंट थिंक इतना स्ट्रक्चर था इंडियन फुटबॉल में, या फिर ISL जस्ट स्टार्टेड एट दैट टाइम. तो उस टाइम पे how did you take that risk? Like, what was your thought process to taking a risk and going to Germany and then doing the licenses and then doing part-time work at Baichung Bhutia School? So what was that journey, and what were your thoughts? मतलब उस समय क्या, because it's not a simple thing. It's not very easy. You're saying it like it's nothing, but I can understand like how many thoughts were going through. तो उस समय वो चीज का थोड़ा सा explain कीजिए कि उस टाइम पे ऐसा risky decision लेना आपने कैसे push किया?
Yeah, so I think with any decision that you have to take, सबसे पहला जो important factor होता है कि is how does your family respond to these things. And that is somewhere जहाँ पे मैं अपने आप को बहुत fortunate समझता हूँ कि I had a family who was willing to let me explore my options, and obviously they were concerned, and for a long time there were some concerns that can I sustain this for a long term and be able to stay comfortably in my life with this in this profession. But ISL I think for sure helped get that clarity कि there is a pathway, there is professionalism coming to Indian football, and scope है कि हम इसमें long term काम कर सकते हैं and be financially stable. And irrespective जब वो नहीं भी था तब भी support था family का, and that's where I felt confident to take that chance. And then comes the other factors, which is about that 6-7 months that I had जहाँ पे मैंने part time करके देखा and tried to understand कि क्या, again, like along with understanding if I want to do this as a full time, I also tried to see कि pathway है कि नहीं है इसमें. And that's where everything started for me. So yeah, it was risky, and there was
very shaky
challenges. But it is something that there at the highest level there is an opportunity for you to be financially sustainable. But more importantly, what I realized, and the main reason जो मेरे हिसाब से I took that plunge is, for me, a good training session used to make my day. The amount of satisfaction I got when I had a good training session, and the flip side as well, at the times when I have not had a good session or a good game. But that kind of satisfaction to have in life from work
Yeah.
is something I'm very fortunate with. And once I've started feeling that on the good days, I realized that look, this is worth it.
I mean, that's for sure. वो और उसको आप किसी भी पैसे से नहीं तोल सकते हो.
Yeah,
That
for
satisfaction
sure.
is something else. I can definitely relate to that. But आपने बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात की, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात कही कि आपके फैमिली का सपोर्ट था. आई डोंट थिंक लॉट ऑफ प्लेयर्स या फिर लॉट ऑफ इंडियन फैमिलीज सपोर्ट फुटबॉल और मतलब स्पोर्ट्स में कोई करियर बनाने का, एक्सेप्ट क्रिकेट. वो मेन स्ट्रीम हो गया बहुत ज्यादा. तो जो इनिशियल आपने बोला कि वो जर्नी थोड़ा सा मतलब कठिन रहा, फैमिली का बहुत सपोर्ट रहा, तो उस समय एक दो ऐसी स्टोरीज बता सकते हैं कि जिसमें आपको लगा कि नहीं, मतलब जैसे कि कोचिंग में आपको ऐसा क्या अच्छा लगा कि यू थॉट कि ओके दिस इज रियली रियली गुड, लाइक मे बी आपने किसी प्लेयर को ऐसा कुछ टिप दिया जिससे कि ही बिकेम सक्सेसफुल, या फिर मतलब ऐसी क्या चीज थी कोचिंग में जिसने आपको मतलब आगे के लिए कंटिन्यू करने के लिए डायरेक्शन दिया.
It is difficult to say a specific moment because this is something that again
That builds slowly, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel as a coach, none of us can say कि हाँ मैंने इस player को ये करा है वो करा है. Maybe a player can say that this coach has helped me pick up X, Y, and Z, but I don't feel it can come from the coach's side itself because we are someone who just show the path to the players. और वो हम same path काफी players को देते हैं. But कौन उस path में एक step लेगा, 10 step लेगा या will go beyond that path,
वो player के ऊपर depend.
वो player के ऊपर है. कुछ लोग negative side भी जा सकते हैं इसमें.
बिल्कुल.
तो वो है, but the satisfaction came from seeing them implement things जो हमने सिखाए. जैसे like there is some topic, let's say for shooting itself, if we give let's say a specific coaching point on that okay, you need to your form needs to be like this, try to have your point of contact with this part of the foot, and you see them implement that, going from someone who is not doing it to finally getting that contact right, and you see that development in them. That gives you a lot of satisfaction and happiness that you're making a positive impact. And football or any sports for that matter is not just about making an impact on the pitch as well. You see a personality development, and that power is also there with coaches, where you can help them out in those aspects, and you see them improve and become better individuals. And like that's what there's so many different verticals जैसे हम बोल सकते हैं in this sport कि you can positively impact the people around you.
बिल्कुल. और मैं ये क्वेश्चन स्पेसिफिकली इसलिए पूछना चाह रहा हूँ बिकॉज नाउ 2013 में तो इतना स्ट्रक्चर नहीं था. नाउ थिंग्स आर गेटिंग स्ट्रक्चर्ड अ बिट एंड लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर थिंकिंग टू मेक अ करियर इन स्पोर्ट्स एज अ कोच और असिस्टेंट कोच. तो उनके लिए ये जर्नी, ये चीजें समझना भी इम्पोर्टेंट है कि मतलब दे कैन डेफिनेटली ऑफ फॉर दिस पाथ, वो इस बात पे जा सकते हैं, क्या समझ सकते, कैसे बेसिकली उनको अपना कोचिंग लेवल बढ़ाना पड़ेगा या प्लेयर्स के साथ कैसे वो बेटर जेलअप कर सकते हैं जिससे कि उनका एक्सपीरियंस बेटर हो एंड दे कैन बिल्ड बेटर प्लेयर्स. तो चलिए, ये तो बहुत अच्छा इंसाइट आपने शेयर किया. एक चीज और पूछूं मैं, चैलेंजेस क्या थे, क्योंकि बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स आपको ऑब्नॉक्शियस भी मिले होंगे, राइट? कि what do you know about, they might say what do you know about football, you might have found those for sure. तो उनको आप कैसे हैंडल करते थे?
That is a challenge which हमेशा ही रहेगा. I'm sure I don't know if you know about that story about Rafa Benitez and Cristiano Ronaldo when he was a Real Madrid coach, and he said if you do this then you'll score more goals. He told Ronaldo that, and Ronaldo said who are you to tell me how to score free kicks. So I think that challenge starting से लेके end तक रहता ही है. And the journey for a coach is to understand how you can add value to the players, and that point of adding value will be different for different players. For some it would be put your arm around the player and just give him the confidence to express himself. For some it would be to be hard on them. For some it would be to guide them. So ये buy-in create करना हर इंडिविजुअल के साथ बहुत जरूरी होता है एज अ कोच.
बिल्कुल.
And that is something that will help you. Once that trust is built, that is when you can add value to them as a player, or you can help them, because if they don't trust you, then even if you give the best advice, वो लोग follow नहीं करेंगे.
बिल्कुल.
Because हमेशा doubt रहेगा कि यार why should I listen to him, as you said. So building that trust is important with your players, and then from there you start helping them improve certain aspects of the game, or giving them feedback on what they can do better, and
Right.
take things forward.
बहुत बहुत अच्छी बात कही. ये चीजें बहुत कम सुनने को मिलती है, एड वैल्यू टू द प्लेयर. बिकॉज जब तक आप किसी की लाइफ में वैल्यू ऐड नहीं करेंगे, देन व्हाई वुड एनीवन, आई मीन, ट्रस्ट यू, वेदर इट इज अ कोच और एनीवन एल्स. मतलब वो चीज बहुत जरूरी होती है. एंड जो भी नए नए कोचेस हैं या फिर प्लेयर्स हैं, उनको भी ये सारी चीजें समझनी चाहिए कि एडिंग वैल्यू इज गोइंग टू टेक यू फर्दर. तो बहुत अच्छा इंसाइट दिया है आपने. नेक्स्ट, आई थिंक ये तो बहुत काफी अच्छे इंसाइट्स आपने शेयर किए. आप आते हैं आपके चनमारी एफसी के ऊपर. उसमें आपका जर्नी कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ? हाउ डिड यू गेट दिस चांस, एंड देन हाउ डिड यू स्टार्ट वर्किंग विद दिस फुटबॉल क्लब?
So, first of all, with regards to Chanmari FC, we are an I League club now,
What
not
is
an
it?
I League 2. I said we are an I League club now, not an I League 2.
I League 2, yes, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed it. I actually
Yeah, I know.
written.
I'm just pulling your leg. Yeah, I've been able to qualify, and next season, ये club I League खेलेगा.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you very much. But my journey with them actually started when they were playing in the I League 3. And उस time पे I had some players in my club who were from Mizoram, and they knew these guys. I knew this team from obviously back home. तो उनके साथ मैंने थोड़ा सा मैचेस उनका देखना शुरू किया, because obviously I wanted to also understand the level कि क्या चल रहा है I League 3 पे. I was working in Bangalore at that time with a super division club. So when I saw them play, I felt like there is similarity in the way they like to play football and how I want my teams to be, playing the game. So वहाँ से वो interest and connection, I would say, to an extent, was formed from my end at least. And once that I League 3 season got over, they were looking for a change in the head coach. They qualified from I League 3 to I League 2. And at that time, when they were looking for a coach, I think there were people involved who tried to tell them about my availability at that time, and they were also looking for a young, hungry coach who could help them in their I League 2 campaign and take the team forward. So it was just we connected. I spoke to some people at the club, and I think it was instantly we were like it seems like a good fit, and within I think 2 days I was packing my bags from Delhi and going to.
So what was that point that hit that nail? Like, मतलब आपने कुछ तो चीज देखी होगी, कुछ यूनिक पॉइंट देखा होगा उस क्लब का या प्लेयर्स का, जिससे आपको लगा ओके, दिस इज द प्लेस वेयर आई शुड गो.
या सो जब मैंने उनका मैचेस देखने शुरू करे, then the style of play, knowing the players that I had in my previous club as well, and they were closely associated with these guys. तो उनसे जो feedback मिला हुआ था, and more importantly, the culture of Mizoram football. All these three things I felt aligned a lot with what I want to do, and that's still one side of the thing. But more importantly, when you're looking for a new club or when you're working in a new organization, you need to also have that same mentality as the management.
Right.
And the ideas they had, that the intention of the club was a lot aligned with
your
exactly
goals.
Because we had a squad of 30 in which 29 of them were all local. That one player we came on loan from outside, and that was because that was one position where you were lacking. But they wanted the local players of Mizoram to get a chance to step up, because there's a lot of quality there, and that is something I relate to. But player development, when I was working in youth to now also working in senior football for the last 3-4 years, that is something that is very, very important to me and very close to my heart. So that's where I felt like there's a connection between what they intend to do with this club and what I can bring to them as well. So
आई थिंक अलाइनमेंट बहुत जरूरी है, ऑफ कोर्स, अदरवाइज इट विल बी अ हैवक। तो नहीं, कल्चर तो काफी, मतलब मैं क्लोजली तो मैंने नहीं देखा नॉर्थ ईस्ट का गेम वहां पे रह के, बट ऑब्वियसली मेरे काफी फ्रेंड्स हैं। कल्चर वहाँ का काफी इवॉल्व है। मेरा एक फ्रेंड है शिलोंग का ही, जिसके कारण बेसिकली मैंने फुटबॉल भी खेलना स्टार्ट किया। तो वो तो मैं आपका बात काफी हद तक समझ गया कि वहाँ पे कल्चर बहुत अच्छा है, एंड देन व्हेन यू कम अप विद ब्रिलियंट पॉइंट्स देन दे विल डेफिनेटली बैक यू। तो वो चीज बहुत अच्छी है। तो इनिशियली आप जब मिजोरम गए, did you find some challenges? I mean, you, of course, you have been living all over India, traveling a lot, but वहाँ पे जाके सेटल होने में, because कोच का भी मतलब हेल्दी रहना वहाँ पे, फिजिकली एंड मेंटली फिट रहना बहुत जरूरी। तो वहाँ पे इनिशियली कोई चैलेंज लगा या फिर इट वाज ऑल परफेक्ट?
I would say challenges तो काफी थे, because I'm going to a place where now वहाँ पे हिंदी ज्यादा बोलते हैं ना इंग्लिश
राइट,
बोलते हैं.
राइट, यस,
People are predominantly they speak in Mizo.
या,
Even some of the players did not understand कि मैं क्या बोलने की
क्या,
कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. And the culture of the place is very different from most of the major cities that we live in. They are a very it's a what very community
हम्म,
state where everyone is close to each other, and they have their own obviously with different cultures. There's some something that you have to adjust to as well from your end. So
राइट,
challenges wise, it was when I look back at they were huge for me to adjust and come in and just because we had only 3 weeks to start for the first game. But these challenges were not a problem for me because along with the cultural challenge, like as I said, the differences, part of their culture is also about helping people around. So like the community is very strong over there, and they're very helpful people in general.
राइट,
So when I could not get my message across to a certain player, my assistant was ensuring that he steps in and explains it to them in Mizo. If he's not around to do that, it's the senior players who took charge of it. With my stay as well, if they knew that okay, this is something that might be a challenge for me, they were proactive in ensuring that before I ask them for it, they solve that problem for me. So I was to an extent I would say blessed that I was in a community where these things could have been major issues and could have led to me feeling maybe homesick or struggling to get my idea across, but it wasn't a challenge because इन लोगों ने जो community है काफी help किया and
राइट,
ensured that our focus remained on football from the first day till the end.
राइट। तो स्ट्रॉन्ग कम्युनिटी काफी हेल्पफुल है। तो उससे अभी आपको लैंग्वेज में अभी भी प्रॉब्लम होती है या फिर अभी नाउ इट इज ऑल सॉर्टेड?
I still know only a few words Mizo में.
अच्छा।
I can't converse with people over there, but yeah,
बट फुटबॉल
we've
लैंग्वेज काफी है, आई थिंक।
exactly. Definitely, that's
Alright.
that's
So, next question पे आते हैं, like, what do you see for the next few years? What are your plans for the Chanmari FC, and how do you plan for it? And maybe some of the insights for the next few years, like, how do you want to take it further?
uh, that is a difficult question कि मैं
In
आंसर
general,
कर
like,
पाऊँ
what do
because
you envision for them?
हाँ, so again like जो उनका vision होगा they'll have to see, and they'll it's
Hmm.
something that they know कि क्या क्या challenges उनकी side से हैं and how we can go forward.
Right.
But from my side and what I understand about the club, जो मेरा discussions हुआ है, and that is the intention of that's something that even the people of Mizoram, like the footballing community of Mizoram, has also been backing us up and supporting us mostly. इसी reason की वजह से is that there is, as I said, a lot of talent in the state, and we had only one I-League club over there in Aizawl FC, and there's a limit to कितने players Aizawl FC में खेल सकते हैं. So काफी सारे players थे जिनको chance नहीं मिल पा रहा था, and we have also unearthed some players जो पहले maybe अगर ये team नहीं होती तो would have taken more time to get the experience जो required है. तो the main idea, short term, long term is कि हम local players, मिजोरम के players को chance दें and वो stage दें that
Right.
they can showcase their talents
Yeah.
and move on to bigger things as and when the time is right for them.
Right.
So that was our objective in I League 2 as well, and that's the objective that's going to be there in I League as well. कि हम local players को एक platform दें
Hmm.
and help them improve, and they help the club also to push up and move.
Hmm.
Ensure
Right.
that we perform well on the pitch and off the pitch,
Right.
and take things forward from there. And
और आपका यूथ प्लेयर्स को डेवलप करने का क्या कोई प्लान है अभी इन प्लेस या फिर इज इट समथिंग नॉट इन योर माइंड फॉर नाउ?
so there are two things again specific to Mizoram that Mizoram has a very good culture of football. So from the age of 5-6, there's a thing called Naupang League, जो Reliance
नाउ
के साथ.
पांगी yep.
So I ensure I like whenever I got a chance, मैंने भी कोशिश करा कि मैं मैचेस देखूं उनके क्या हो रहा है. And I feel that is something that is helping a lot in ensuring that the youth of Mizoram get a chance to play football on a very regular basis. And from there, the development starts, and along with them, it's also the MFA, जो उनका फेडरेशन है, जो बहुत ही consistent times पे tournaments करवाता रहता है for the players. And that's not just limited to youth. जैसे अभी भी एक local tournament चल रहा है जहाँ पे every locality makes a team. And from the biggest players who are playing or have played in the ISL to the local players who are trying to move up, they participate in that, and then they represent their community, their locality. So
I think that's a good
opportunities बहुत आते रहते हैं for them, and obviously every MFA league is the MPL is there, and there's other tournaments as well that happen. So they are very solid in their footballing culture over there. Now for us, I feel again, ये question है जो maybe the club would be the best placed to answer it. But from what I understand, the intention is that we give direction to these players, and like we have a certain style of play, and getting these identifying players early, जो हमारे system या हमारे idea में fit करते हैं, who are hungry to push up, we bring them in at a younger age, and we create a system where from a younger age they're getting the same sort of coaching idea that they can step up, and then eventually if what you'd want is if my first choice winger is not able to play, we can promote someone from below, and he understands things and how we want to how our style is, and can grasp it quickly. So the intention club ka hai is to create that sort of conveyor belt from the grassroots to the youth to the reserve and the first team, because as I said, the objective of the club is to be a platform for these players. So platform banega to iska matlab if someone does well, bigger clubs in the ISL would be interested in them. So if they go out, then the next generation has to be ready to pick up the spot. So that requires these foundations as well.
Right. And how many players are there who are out of Mizoram, or maybe out of Northeast? As in मतलब how many players, कितने players खेल रहे हैं आपकी टीम में जो कि मिजोरम के बाहर के हैं? मतलब मेरा question only one. I just want to understand, because if other states, players from other states can participate, and if they are like talented, and if they can get a chance to play at your club.
No, it's not something the club is against getting players from outside. It's not a rule as such, but the intention is to
bring local
utilize
players.
The local. So if you can get a local player, so like we got a number 10. He was on loan from BFC, and he's someone I knew from before because we worked together in Reliance. So our intention at that time also was that we have this spot available. Can we find someone in Mizoram who can fulfill that role to the extent that we needed? And हमें नहीं मिला कोई उस time पे वैसा. And then we were like, okay, what other option can we explore? So the priority for every position जो मेरे हिसाब से है is to get a local player in that position. But if that cannot be done, or if that cannot be done to an extent कि हम compete कर सके to the best of our abilities, then the club is also open to getting players from outside as well.
Interesting. एक बहुत important सवाल है. I mean, with the given advanced level of footballing that we see every day, मतलब फुटबॉल पहले के आज से 10 साल पहले 15 साल पहले कुछ और था, अब थोड़ा सा चेंज हो गया है. देयर इज लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेटजी, देयर इज लॉट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, वीडियो एनालिसिस एंड ऑल. तो आप अपने क्लब में डेटा का कैसे यूज करते हैं? आई एम श्योर देयर मस्ट बी सम डेटा पॉइंट्स व्हिच यू गो थ्रू, तो डेटा का कितना यूजेज है आपके क्लब में, एंड हाउ डू यू मेक श्योर कि इट गेट्स यूज्ड better, and maybe you can improve their game style, individual performance, or whatever it is. So how do you ensure कि data अच्छे से use किया जाए to improve the game?
Uh, Honestly, I've worked in Reliance Young Champs, जो Bombay में है, and over there I had the privilege of exploring and working with everything that
Hmm.
you're talking about.
Hmm.
क्योंकि वहाँ पे स्पीडियो कैमरास हैं, वहाँ पे
Right.
सॉफ्टवेयर्स हैं,
Right.
that I can get the best out of these aspects of the game to help develop the players and give them the right information. But over here we are a very small budgeted team, so as
Right.
like अगर हम लीग में भी देखें, maybe we are हमारा budget wise mid table होता, and
Right.
that's why what these guys have been able to do is something that uh, is is so unique,
Hmm.
that we have qualified for the I League, because we had a very small coaching staff where it was my assistant coach, we had a goalkeeper coach who joined midway, and a physio.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And most of the coaching was, the assistant and I, we worked together and tried to ensure we cover everything, including the analysis
Right.
as well, was something I had to do on my own. So हमारे पास इस क्लब में ये सब
अभी
चीजें अवेलेबल नहीं थी. So it was
hmm.
more about me looking at the games of
Yeah.
of our team and of the opponents, and trying to see what is the best way to pass on the message to the players. Sometimes
Hmm.
I had to send screenshots of because SSCN pay, it's a bit of a challenge for us at least to get the recordings and stuff. So it was
Right.
creating screenshots and making pointers or adding notes to that. Some things were not shared with the players, but I inculcated them in my training session. So I was making notes and so it's about figuring out, okay, क्या information उनको directly देना है, क्या
क्या
information
indirectly?
को training के through देना है, and क्या चीज़ है जो maybe सिर्फ मैच से पहले या off the pitch हमें बात करके करना है. So that was a big challenge over here for us.
I think then in that case, without data, without any proper structured analysis, without any proper analyst team, then it is like a great success, and whatever you're doing, it's like really magic, probably. But I think what I understand कि वहाँ के local players की camaraderie इतनी अच्छी है, and then of course your analysis and your way of coaching is such कि उनका game काफी अच्छा है. तो आगे जाके क्या plans हैं if you think data can help them achieve a better level, or is it
Yeah, so
just marketing?
no. Yeah. That's why I mentioned talking when I said about Reliance, that I know the value of data, value of these softwares that we can use to. We've used it for improving players. I used it to analyze the opponents as well, because आजकल जो apps, जो websites and softwares जो आ रहे हैं उसमें, they give you what the trends of the team is also that you're playing against. So like if there's a team that tries to play through a specific player or through a certain part of the pitch, that gives you clear idea through these softwares that can help you design your strategy.
Right.
So it's important that when you're analyzing, you have the eye test and you see things for yourself, but along with that, having the data to back it up or show you something different is very, very important.
Right.
And these are not gimmicks at all. It's just that over here हमें ये opportunity नहीं मिल पाई, and there were obviously constraints, because इसी league में there were teams who were using GPS, there were teams who were using these softwares, and these are challenges that we had. Like we didn't have that kind of opportunity to explore these sites. So we had to focus on the things that we can control and try to give our best through that. But
I think
100%
बहुत
जरूरी होता है ये.
बिल्कुल, जो भी आपके पास था उसका आपने बेस्ट किया, एंड ऑफ कोर्स इफ आई मीन डेटा इज इम्पोर्टेंट. माय क्वेश्चन is not just to you, but it's for most of the clubs, most of the coaches and players. It is mandatory because right now the game level has changed, the quality is changed, and ये आपके पास अगर if you have proper technology in place, I think the level of the quality of game will be better. So that's why it's not just a question to you or your club, but it's a hint for other clubs as well to adopt it as soon as possible, because other countries, you must have already been aware of this. So other countries are already doing it, and they are doing it at very good level. So हमको भी अगर आगे होना है तो we have to probably adopt
And more
this.
importantly, इससे क्या होता है, like again, if there are two people like you and me are there, and आप मेरे को बोलो कि look, this is something that you could have done.
Yeah,
So मेरा first response as a human being would be to deflect it or try to
of
make
course.
excuses for it. कि
Excuse,
no,
yeah.
मैं अच्छा ये problem है, वो problem है. So having these things tries to break down that barriers and ensure that the player is seeing what is the reality of what is happening, and then they understand, okay, yeah, maybe I could have done that better, and then it stays more in their mind. So आप memory पे कितना work करोगे, उसका effectiveness would be limited, but you
Absolutely.
talk about the memory along with the video snippets of it, along with the data that, okay, because something like, okay, you did not work hard enough in this game, or you were not recovering, coming back enough. So if you just talk memory, then the player would maybe disagree with you. Maybe think that, okay, look, you're singling me out, or you will think that which coach has a bias against me. But when you have these things, you can break down these barriers, and you can show them that, okay, look, this is your limit, this is what you did, and this is where I want you to be. So it makes things that are gray, black and white at times, and sometimes help you also, because kabhi tumhara as a coach also, you're a human.
Yeah.
You could have a bias that, hey, this guy didn't have a good game, and then you see his data and you say, oh, he actually ran more than his average. He worked hard, and then your opinion can also change, and you also see things
Then
that
you see other things as well, like
exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
beyond
Absolutely.
the eye test, these things help you and the players improve. And yeah, as I do agree with you, this is an important tool in the future of football, and
Absolutely.
actually not future, in the present of football.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, that's great. I think clubs will definitely, they are already working on it. And given the budget constraint, I see a lot of clubs have budget constraints, so that's a problem. But anyways, I think they will figure it out, and we hope the quality gets better. So I think we'll try to conclude this quickly, and maybe last some advice to the young players, football players, or the coaches who want to make a career into football. So what is your one single advice to them?
My biggest advice would be, see how passionate you are about it, because there'll be times जब आपका परफॉर्मेंस एज अ प्लेयर अच्छा नहीं होगा,
राइट,
जहाँ पे आप अच्छा कर रहे होगे, आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिलेगी. एंड सेम थिंग गोज फॉर अ कोच, वेयर आपको दिखेगा कि अरे मैं इससे अच्छा कर सकता हूँ, बट मेरे को चांस नहीं मिल रहा है, किसी और को मिल रहा है, मे बी आई एम मोर डिजर्विंग, बोथ आर डिजर्विंग है. सो ये सब मोमेंट्स आपकी लाइफ में आएंगे एज अ प्लेयर, एज अ कोच, बट it is your passion that will take you forward and take you over these challenges. So if you're stepping into this field, ensure you're stepping in with everything that you have, and you're ready to endure the difficult times, so that you can enjoy the better times.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's a great advice and suggestion. One favorite football coach, whom you idolize?
That's a difficult one, but I would say the person who I loved and learned a lot from is Arsene Wenger.
Awesome.
So, as I said at the beginning, he is someone who's the main idea was, irrespective of the trophies, which obviously I would have loved if they won, it is about ensuring the team plays football that is great to watch.
Yeah.
And the players get an opportunity and space to express themselves. And ये दो चीजें हैं जो, irrespective of how and where I am, I try to ensure that I'm giving that to my teams. And अगर कोई मेरे को बोले कि I enjoyed watching Chanmari FC or any of my teams that I've worked at play, for me that's the biggest compliment, because at the end of it, we are there to entertain the fans and get results while doing the same.
Right.
So
and who's your favorite football player?
Again, I would say someone who I've enjoyed watching the most is Dennis Bergkamp.
Okay, okay, yeah,
Again, Arsenal bias, but
yeah.
yeah,
Recent
players.
generation won't know.
Yeah, he is the OG
Yeah,
magician. So, but yeah, Dennis, Fabregas, Santi, Ozil,
right.
all these guys have that they can do something out of nothing. That magic
Yeah,
is there. So I've always been attracted to that Zidane, to
yeah.
that
Mm,
players from that style of play. So
right. Nice. And probably last question, who is your favorite player at Chanmari FC?
I'm not. I
No,
I have
you.
a I have a lot of players who I admire.
Yeah,
They have helped the team move up, and I don't know अभी उनका next step क्या होगा,
right.
continue
No, I
और
don't want you to put in
European but
a spot.
but yeah, but in general, what I would say is that I feel again quite blessed that I've worked with this
Yeah,
group of players
yeah.
who are very tight knit, and जो
Hmm,
हमने like we didn't have a situation where there are fights happening between players and within the team where people are
hmm.
not pushing in the same direction, and
Right.
that is something that is not, I won't call it rare, but it's not very common because a lot of teams, there are these things happen, clashes happen. But I was working with a group of players who were hungry to ensure कि हम I League तक पहुंचे, and despite the challenges that I said, there were a language barrier, there were challenges because we were a very small budget team.
Yeah.
We can't offer the same things that we see other teams जो हमसे नीचे हैं are getting.
Right.
But I had a group of players who left their ego aside,
Hmm.
ensured that they give their best on the pitch, and eventually I'm grateful that they got the reward of
Right.
making it to the I League now.
Right. Well, thank you very much for sharing this insight and sharing such amazing stories from your experience. I hope this will make a better path and a better direction for someone who is watching and aspiring to be a footballer or a coach in this case. So, thank you very much. It was pleasure talking to you and wish you the best for the next season for the I League. And I hope Chanmari FC does well. I hope you do well and all the players get all the success. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.